Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so profound, that it seemed to contain wisdom beyond your own experience, or felt drawn to symbols and stories that somehow feel deeply familiar, even though you've never encountered them before? You're not alone. These experiences tap into what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of wisdom shared by all humanity that's waiting to be unlocked. And today, you'll discover exactly how to access this power for yourself. Welcome to a 6-part journey into the depths of your mind and the collective mind of humanity. The collective unconscious contains the whole spiritual heritage of mankind, evolution born anew in the brain structure of every individual. These words from Carl Jung hint at something remarkable, that each of us carries within us the accumulated wisdom of all human experience. Jung's revolutionary idea challenges how we think about consciousness. Beyond our personal memories and experiences lies a deeper layer of the psyche, one we share with every human who has ever lived. This isn't mysticism or pseudoscience. Modern research in fields from evolutionary psychology to neuroscience continues to find evidence of inherited mental structures that shape how we perceive and respond to the world. Understanding this collective dimension of our minds isn't just academically interesting, it's practically powerful. It explains why certain symbols, stories, and experiences resonate so deeply across different cultures and throughout history. More importantly, learning to consciously access this collective wisdom can transform your life in 6 concrete ways that we'll explore today. 1. Unlocking creative breakthroughs. 2. Healing emotional wounds. 3. Discovering your authentic purpose. 4. Building deeper connections with others. 5. Finding meaning in challenging experiences. 6. Contributing to collective solutions for our world. Let's begin our exploration by understanding exactly what the collective unconscious is and how it shapes your everyday experience, whether you realize it or not. Imagine your mind as an iceberg. The small portion above water represents your conscious awareness, the thoughts, feelings, and memories you can easily access right now. Just below the surface is your personal unconscious, memories and experiences you've forgotten or repressed, but which still influence you. But Jung proposed something far more profound. Beneath your personal unconscious lies the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of experiences, images, and patterns shared by all humanity. Unlike Freud, who saw the unconscious primarily as a dumping ground for repressed desires, Jung recognized it as a creative source of wisdom and healing. So what exactly is in this collective unconscious? It's not specific memories or experiences, but rather inherited patterns of perception and understanding that Jung called archetypes. Think of archetypes as the psychological equivalent of your physical instinct. Innate tendencies to perceive and respond to certain universal experiences in specific ways. Just as your body instinctively knows how to breathe without being taught, your mind instinctively recognizes and responds to fundamental life experiences, birth and death, the mother-child bond, the hero's journey, confronting your shadow self. These archetypal patterns explain why so many myths, religions, and stories share similar themes despite developing independently across different cultures. They're expressions of our shared psychological heritage. The collective unconscious isn't some mystical hive mind or supernatural force. It's the accumulated psychological inheritance of our species, encoded in the structure of your brain through evolution. Recent research in developmental psychology supports this view. Studies show that infants display innate recognition of certain patterns, faces, snakes, spiders, suggesting we're born with some pre-programmed perceptual templates. But why does this matter to you? Because the collective unconscious influences your life in powerful ways. It shapes your dreams with universal symbols and narratives. It creates inexplicable attractions to certain images, stories, or concepts. It provides intuitive wisdom during critical life transitions, It generates creative inspirations that seem to come from beyond yourself. It creates feelings of profound connection during shared rituals or experiences. By the end of this video, you will have practical tools to consciously access this reservoir of wisdom instead of being unconsciously driven by it. But first, let us explore the fundamental patterns that structure this collective dimension, the archetypes that appear throughout human experience and provide keys to unlocking your full potential. Archetypes, the building blocks. These fundamental patterns that structure our collective unconscious, archetypes, are like the universal language of the human psyche. They're the recurring characters in the story of humanity, appearing across cultures, throughout history, and within your own psychological journey. Think of archetypes as psychological templates, pre-formed ways of understanding certain universal experiences. They're not specific images or ideas, but rather tendencies to organize our experiences in particular ways. Let's explore 5 key archetypes that most powerfully shape your experience. First, the self, the archetype of wholeness and integration. The self represents your full potential, the complete expression of all aspects of your psyche working in harmony. It often appears in dreams and art as a circle, mandala, or quaternity, symbols of completeness and balance. When you feel a deep sense of purpose or meaning, when seemingly random events in your life suddenly form a coherent pattern. That's the self-archetype at work, guiding you toward psychological integration. Next, the shadow, the archetype of the disowned self. Your shadow contains qualities you've rejected or denied in yourself, both negative and positive. In dreams, it often appears as a dark figure, something pursuing or threatening you, or as someone of your same gender who makes you uncomfortable. Far from being merely negative, your shadow holds tremendous creative energy. When you feel inexplicably triggered by someone or find yourself projecting strong judgment onto others, your shadow is revealing itself, offering an opportunity for growth. The anima in men and animus in women represent your unconscious feminine or masculine energies. These archetypes mediate between your conscious mind and the collective unconscious, appearing in dreams as figures of the opposite sex or as romantic partners. Your relationship with these inner feminine or masculine aspects profoundly shapes your outer relationships. When you feel mysteriously drawn to someone who seems to embody qualities you lack, you're often projecting your anima or animus onto them. The hero archetype represents your capacity for courage and transformation. It's the part of you that faces challenges, overcomes obstacles, and returns transformed. We see the hero in myths, from Hercules to Luke Skywalker, from Mulan to Wonder Woman. Whenever you face a significant challenge, leave your comfort zone, or undergo personal transformation, you're living out the hero archetype. This isn't just mythology, it's a psychological pattern for growth encoded in your psyche. Finally, the wise old man or woman represents inner wisdom and guidance. This archetype appears in dreams and stories as mentors, teachers, or elders who offer crucial knowledge or tools for your journey. When you experience sudden insights, intuitive knowings, or inner guidance, that's often the wise one archetype emerging from your collective unconscious, offering wisdom accumulated through countless generations of human experience. These archetypes aren't simply abstract concepts, they're living psychological forces that continually shape your perceptions, behaviors, and experiences. Learning to recognize them gives you access to their transformative power. And that brings us to the practical question: how exactly do you tap into this collective wisdom? Tapping into the collective unconscious. 8 to 12 tool OTI. Now that you understand the architecture of the collective unconscious, let's explore practical techniques for accessing this vast reservoir of wisdom. The first and perhaps most powerful method is active imagination, a technique Jung himself developed to directly engage with unconscious content. Here's how it works. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and focus on a specific question, problem, or image that's meaningful to you. Allow your mind to generate images, scenarios, or internal dialogues without consciously directing them. The key is to remain conscious throughout the process. You're not falling asleep or going into trance. You're creating a bridge between your conscious and unconscious mind. When figures or images appear, engage with them. Ask questions. Listen to their responses. This isn't just imagination. It's a dialogue with deeper aspects of your psyche that connect to the collective unconscious. After your session, record what happened through writing, drawing, or movement. This anchors the experience and helps integrate the insights into your conscious awareness. The second powerful method is dream analysis. Your dreams are the most direct expressions of your unconscious mind, including its collective dimensions. Start by keeping a dream journal beside your bed. Write down your dreams immediately upon waking before they fade. Don't worry about interpretation initially, just capture the images, feelings, and narrative. When analyzing your dreams, look for archetypal elements, recurring symbols, figures that seem to have a numinous or powerful quality, or scenarios that feel mythic or larger than life. These often represent collective unconscious content rather than merely personal associations. Pay special attention to dreams that evoke strong emotions or that stay with you throughout the day. These often contain important messages from your deeper psyche. Remember that dreams speak in the language of symbols and associations, not literal statements. A useful approach is to describe each element of the dream and ask, what associations do I have with this? And what universal human experiences might this represent? The third method is cultivating awareness of synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences that Jung believed reflect the organizing principles of the collective unconscious. Have you ever thought of someone right before they called, or repeatedly encountered the same symbol or number sequence during significant life transitions? These aren't just random coincidences, they are moments when the patterns of the collective unconscious become visible in your external reality. Start noticing these meaningful coincidences. Keep a synchronicity journal. Ask yourself what archetypal themes might be emerging in your life when these patterns appear. The fourth method involves connecting with collective symbols through ritual and symbolic action. Throughout history, humans have used ritual to access collective wisdom. You don't need elaborate ceremonies. Simple actions can be powerful. Lighting a candle while setting an intention, creating a personal altar with meaningful objects, walking a labyrinth, or creating art that expresses archetypal themes. Creating mandalas, circular designs that represent wholeness, is a particularly powerful way to access the self-archetype and integrate unconscious content. Simply draw a circle and fill it with colors, patterns, or images that emerge spontaneously. The resulting design often reveals archetypal patterns currently active in your psyche. These four methods, active imagination, dream analysis, synchronicity awareness, and symbolic action, provide direct pathways to the collective unconscious. With practice, you'll develop greater fluency in the language of symbols and archetypes. As you strengthen this connection, you'll notice increased creativity, more meaningful dreams, stronger intuition, and a greater sense of purpose and direction in your life. But the collective unconscious isn't just about personal development. It's also expressed in powerful ways throughout human culture, from art that moves us to scientific breakthroughs that change our world. Let's explore how this collective dimension manifests in real-world examples that demonstrate its extraordinary power. The collective unconscious. In action, real-world examples. The collective unconscious isn't just a theoretical concept. It's a living force that has shaped human achievement throughout history. Let's explore some remarkable examples of how this shared reservoir of wisdom manifests in our world. In the realm of art, creators throughout history have tapped into archetypal imagery that resonates across cultural boundaries. Consider Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. Her enigmatic smile has captivated viewers for centuries, embodying the mysterious feminine in a way that transcends time and culture. Or look at Picasso's Guernica, which expresses the universal horror of war through archetypal symbols of suffering that speak directly to our collective experience of trauma and grief. These works don't just communicate ideas, they activate archetypal responses within us. In music, composers like Mozart and Beethoven created works that evoke universal emotional responses. The patterns of tension and resolution in their compositions mirror the archetypal journey from conflict to integration that Jung identified in the human psyche. Modern filmmakers like George Lucas explicitly drew on Jung's work when creating Star Wars, structuring the story around archetypal figures: the hero, Luke, the wise old man, Obi-Wan, the shadow, Vader, that resonate with audiences worldwide because they activate patterns in our collective unconscious. Even more remarkably, the collective unconscious has influenced scientific discovery. Consider Auguste Kekule, who solved the structure of the benzene molecule after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail. The Ouroboros, an ancient symbol of wholeness and infinity. Or Dmitri Mendeleev, who created the periodic table after seeing the elements arranged in a dream. These scientists accessed information that seemed to come from beyond their conscious knowledge, tapping into patterns in the collective unconscious that aligned with physical reality. In social movements, we see archetypal energies mobilizing collective action. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech drew its power from archetypal imagery that resonated with universal human yearnings for freedom and equality. Environmental movements often invoke the archetype of the Great Mother, our collective connection to the earth as a living system. From ancient tribal rituals to modern stadium concerts, humans create collective experiences that activate shared archetypal patterns, generating feelings of unity and transcendence. When thousands of people at a concert feel simultaneously moved by the same music, they're experiencing a manifestation of our interconnected unconscious. Even your own moments of inspiration, when solutions seem to arrive fully formed from nowhere, often represent your individual consciousness connecting with the collective reservoir of human insight and creativity. What unites all these examples is the activation of shared unconscious patterns that transcend individual experience, allowing us to access wisdom, creativity, and insight that extends beyond our personal limitations. Now that we've seen the power of the collective unconscious at work in the world, let's explore how you can apply this understanding to transform specific areas of your life. Practical applications of collective unconscious wisdom. The collective unconscious isn't just fascinating theory. It's a practical resource you can apply to enhance virtually every aspect of your life. Let's explore specific applications that can transform how you create, heal, and grow. First, let's look at boosting creativity. Creative blocks often occur when you're overly reliant on conscious thinking. By intentionally engaging with archetypal imagery, you can bypass these blocks and access the vast creative resources of the collective unconscious. Try this. When facing a creative challenge, identify an archetype that relates to your project. Perhaps the creator for artistic work, the explorer for new ventures, or the sage for intellectual problems. Spend time with images of this archetype through art, film, or visualization. Then pose your creative question before sleep, asking the archetype for guidance. Keep your journal ready to capture insights upon waking. Many artists and innovators report their best ideas come through this dialogue with archetypal energies. The collective unconscious also offers powerful resources for emotional healing. Many psychological wounds connect to universal human experiences, rejection, loss, failure, betrayal, that have archetypal dimensions. Working with the shadow archetype is particularly transformative. When you find yourself strongly triggered by someone, ask, what disowned quality of myself might this person be reflecting? This shadow work can release enormous energy previously used to repress these aspects of yourself. For navigating life transitions, connect with mythic stories that mirror your situation. If you're facing seemingly impossible challenges, explore stories of the hero archetype overcoming similar obstacles. These aren't just stories, they're psychological maps for navigating universal human experiences. In relationships, understanding archetypal projections can be revolutionary. When you're powerfully attracted to someone, you're often projecting your anima or animus, your inner feminine or masculine, onto them. Recognizing this helps you distinguish between archetypal fascination and genuine compatibility. Try this. When strongly attracted to someone, journal about the qualities that captivate you. Ask yourself, where do these qualities exist within me, even if undeveloped? This awareness doesn't diminish attraction, but helps you build relationships based on reality. For finding authentic purpose, the self-archetype provides invaluable guidance. Unlike ego-driven ambitions, purpose aligned with yourself feels meaningful and energizing even when difficult. Create a dialogue with your self-archetype through active imagination. Ask what unique gifts you're meant to develop and share. The answers may surprise you. They often integrate seemingly disparate elements of your personality into a coherent whole. Even collective challenges benefit from archetypal understanding. Climate change, social polarization, and technological disruption all activate archetypal fears and hopes. By recognizing these shared patterns, we can move beyond polarized positions to address the archetypal needs underlying different perspectives. The key to applying collective unconscious wisdom is consistency. These aren't quick fixes, they're practices that gradually deepen your connection to the wellspring of human wisdom carried within you. As you work with these approaches, you'll develop what Jung called psychological fluency, the ability to move between conscious and unconscious modes of perception, integrating their complementary strengths. But how do you maintain this connection to the collective unconscious amid the demands of everyday life? That's what we'll explore in our final section. Practical ways to integrate this wisdom into your daily routines. Integrating the collective unconscious in your daily life. The true power of Jung's discovery lies not in occasional peak experiences, but in weaving this connection to the collective unconscious into the fabric of your everyday life. Let's explore how to maintain this vital connection amid your daily routines. Begin with how you start your day. The hypnagogic state, that space between sleeping and waking, offers unique access to unconscious material. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone, spend 5 minutes recording dream fragments or impressions. These morning insights often contain archetypal wisdom particularly relevant to your current challenges. Throughout your day, create brief moments of inner attention. Before important decisions or conversations, pause for 30 seconds and ask, what does my deeper wisdom suggest here? This simple practice activates your connection to archetypal intelligence precisely when you need it most. Transform routine activities into opportunities for symbolic connection. Your morning coffee can become a ritual of awakening consciousness. Your commute can become a hero's journey metaphor. Your evening shower can symbolize purification. These small shifts in perception open channels to the collective unconscious throughout your day. Develop a regular journaling practice with these powerful prompts. What archetypal energy is seeking expression in my life right now? What symbols or images keep appearing in my awareness? What synchronicities have I noticed, and what might they mean? Which of my behaviors might reflect unconscious archetypal patterns? Cultivate symbolic literacy by spending time in natural settings. Nature speaks the language of the collective unconscious through its patterns, cycles, and relationships. When you feel drawn to a particular tree, stone, or animal, explore what archetypal energy it might represent for you. Pay attention to your body's wisdom. The collective unconscious doesn't communicate only through images and dreams. It also speaks through bodily sensations. That inexplicable discomfort in certain situations, or the sense of expansion and energy in others, often reflects archetypal patterns being activated. In relationships, practice recognizing when you're in the grip of an archetypal projection. When someone evokes an unusually strong emotional response, positive or negative, pause and ask, what archetypal pattern might be playing out here? This awareness transforms relationships from unconscious reenactments to conscious engagements. When facing important life decisions, invite archetypal wisdom explicitly. Create a council of inner archetypal figures: the wise elder, the warrior, the caregiver, the explorer, and dialogue with each about your situation. Their diverse perspectives often reveal a more integrated path forward. Notice when you enter flow states, those moments when time seems to disappear and you're fully absorbed in an activity. These states often represent an alignment between your conscious actions and archetypal energies. Pay attention to what activities consistently produce this alignment for you. End your day by reviewing meaningful moments, synchronicities, or symbolic encounters. This practice strengthens neural pathways connecting your conscious mind to the collective unconscious, making these connections more accessible over time. The goal isn't to separate your spiritual or psychological practice from your everyday life, but to transform ordinary experience into a continuous dialogue with the deeper dimensions of your psyche and the collective wisdom of humanity. As we conclude our exploration, let's return to the profound invitation at the heart of Jung's discovery: the greater self. We began by exploring Carl Jung's revolutionary idea of the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of wisdom and experience shared by all humanity. We've journeyed through its archetypal patterns, discovered practical methods for accessing its wisdom, witnessed its expression in culture and creativity, and explored ways to apply its insights in daily life. But there's a deeper truth at the heart of this exploration, one that transforms how we understand ourselves and our place in the human story. The collective unconscious reveals that you are never truly separate or alone. Your psyche is not confined to your personal experiences or limited by your individual lifetime. You are connected to the full depth and breadth of human wisdom, carrying within you the psychological inheritance of our entire species. This inheritance isn't just abstract knowledge, it's living wisdom encoded in the very structure of your psyche, waiting to be activated through conscious engagement. When you recognize and integrate these archetypal patterns, you aren't becoming someone different, you're becoming more fully yourself. The self-archetype that Jung identified as the center of the psyche isn't just your personal self. It's connected to what many traditions have called the greater self, the aspect of your being that transcends individual limitations. Throughout history, our most profound creative expressions, scientific discoveries, spiritual insights, and acts of compassion have emerged when individuals accessed this deeper dimension of consciousness, when the personal self became a vessel for collective wisdom. This isn't mystical speculation, it's a practical reality available to you right now. The techniques we've explored aren't just self-improvement tools, they're pathways to experiencing your fundamental connection to something larger than yourself. The ultimate gift of Jung's work is this profound shift in perspective. You are not just a separate ego navigating an external world. You are a unique expression of the collective human journey, carrying within you the wisdom of countless generations. By unlocking the power of the collective unconscious, you don't just access a tool, you remember who you truly are. You recognize your place in the continuous unfolding of human consciousness and discover that the wisdom you seek has always been within you, waiting to be remembered. This remembering is our birthright and perhaps our greatest purpose, to become conscious participants in the evolution of human awareness, adding our unique voice to the ongoing conversation of humanity while drawing on its accumulated wisdom. The power of the collective unconscious isn't something to be used, it's something to be lived. And in that living we discover not just what we can do, but who we truly are.